Okay, so let's see how that's. Just a second. That may not be working. Okay, so let's check and see if that is coming, but I'll tell this way. Oh, Daisy, that's sorry. Just double checking that is that good. Okay, so. Okay. Good morning, Christina. Can you just jump on your microphone? And I just need to do a little technical test. Please go ahead.
Hi.
Great. Okay. Can you just speak for 10 seconds? Just tell me how you're doing and a little bit, just so I can check the levels here. Go ahead.
I'm good today. How are you?
I'm good, actually. Things are working well here and excellent. We could hear you. And can you hear me clearly, Christina? Nice
Yeah.
and clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Okay. So let me just see. I think we've got everything pretty well ready to go. Uh, and let's see. Arshpreet is here. And I'm going to come down here a little bit so I can open this up a bit more. Nice. Okay, so I can see Christina there. And I'll do it this way. Yeah, I think that will work best. Okay, so I'm going to leave my microphone on because we're just about ready. And let's see how we're doing here. Right. Okay, so what's going on? Got the setup done. Okay. Let's see. This we don't need. Okay. Now, let's see. I'm going to try pushing something out here just for the fun of it. I'm at the tab, so I can start screen sharing. Right. And what's in the screen? How about this? This share? Let's see what's happening on YouTube. Will it start sharing on YouTube? It should in a few seconds. Oh, I see what's. Oh, I've got to be careful. Right, I've got to be really careful about that. Yes, I can't be sharing that. Yeah, because of copyright. Okay, so I'll just leave it up there for now. I'm gonna leave everything on the wall on the dashboard, and that will be sufficient. Uh, let's see. Oh, how you doing?
How are you?
Come on in. Just getting set up here.
I didn't make the last class because my transmission cable went.
Boy, join the club. Mine too just went. My car is in the garage right now. Transmission.
At the shifter or
Wow.
at the Jenny?
I don't know. I can't. I don't know enough about transmissions. I just know it's transmission because one mechanic said to me he can't fix it. It's a special Toyota thing, and I had to take it back to the Toyota shop to fix it. So, what about yours?
All over my head then. I mean, all mine was, I took a screwdriver because I just searched it on home. I took a screwdriver. I popped up the little thing and I just saw the cable disconnected. And it just took me a few hours of research and stuff like that, looking for the right video. I found the right video.
Way to
I was
go!
like, that looks like the right
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I think that's mine. And I popped it open. Ding. No money. I literally just put it right back on. And I was like, look at me go.
You're gonna like today's class when the guest. Wait till you. Excellent. What's your name again? It's
Daniel.
Daniel. I was gonna say Daniel Morrissey, right? Yeah, Daniel. Good. That's a great. Just hold that story for a second. I just need to get fully set up because you're gonna absolutely love the guest today. It's, yeah. Okay.
on that Monday.
Yes, I know, and I gave you a mark. Yeah, 5 out of 5. Way to go. Yeah, I looked at it yesterday. It was well written.
I thought that the reflection would be right before the class, not at 11:30.
Okay, so
I just did it this morning.
okay, so just get it in now, like today. Get it in
It's
by the
already
end of
in.
today. Good.
It's in.
All right.
I made
All
sure to
right.
get it in before class because I thought it was before
Good.
class.
That's fine.
I
That's
see
fine.
it at 11:59 now. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay. Take a seat, relax. I just need to get. We're gonna start, and yep, sure, yep. Okay, so let's see who's here and who isn't. Come on in. Hello, Hassan. Yeah, grab a seat. Actually, I think I want to even get your reflection up here. Uh, I'm good. I know Dammy's here. I saw Dammy earlier, so he's going to get on the notes in a moment. But let me just pull up something here. We're going to get started shortly. Well, the thing is about this class, sometimes we get fewer in person or more online, but we know that people are watching the recordings a lot because in the reflections, they're saying some very interesting things. So the class is not exactly what you think it is when you look in person because it's just sort of sprawls around online and then into recording. So that there are 41 people registered in this class and they can participate any way they like, right? So I actually don't mind it when we have fewer in person. I'd like about 10 or so because then we can have a really good interaction. Everybody can be sort of seating around the couches and we can have this nice circle going. But if people are sitting at the back and it's not quite the same. This is really where the action is in here. So, okay, I'm going to just start in a moment for the others online. Mandeep, and let's see Christina's already tested. Um, Mandeep, hi. Can you just jump on your microphone, please, and just say hello? And I want to make sure your
Hello.
go. Can you speak for about 10 seconds? Go ahead. Mandeep, go ahead and speak for 10 seconds. Okay, well, we did hear you. Sanjan, Sanjana.
Yes, my name is Sanjana.
Hi, good. We can hear you nice and clearly.
Hello, good
Great.
morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. We're good. We can absolutely hear you. I'm going to give some microphones out for now. So each of you, Hassan, you can have your own microphone. Okay. And that's good. And Arshpreet, you too. All right. And then Dami, and
Oh, hello.
let's see what else. I'm just going to get one final thing teed up, and then we are going to officially begin the class. And what I want to be teed up is this one reflection, and it's actually Hassan's. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so here's a discussion post reflection 2. Uh, so, down here, where is it? Hassan, can you get the reflection on your phone or somewhere? So because I'm going to have you come up and read it out loud, okay? So there it is here, but I'm going to just open it there, okay? So you can read it out loud. Great, Dami, do you want to do the notes? Can you do the notes? Yeah, great. Okay, because we're just getting started, and so we've got everything teed up, which is good. And I'll just come here. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. There we are with. Ooh. Okay, so we can actually have the class begin now officially. Welcome everyone to our Wednesday Global Leader class. Welcome to the students in person, the students who are joining online synchronously, and then all the students who are the asynchronous students, as we know them. They are the ones watching the recordings And we know you're out there because you're writing some good reflections. Here, Dami, you can give out the microphones as well. So you've got yours. Arshpreet's got one. So we actually have in person today, we have a kind of perfect setup because we have 3 people and 3 microphones, which means that everyone here in person can interact well and can be heard clearly, and we don't need to pass the microphones around. And also, the audio is working well with our online synchronous students, Mandeep, Christina, and Sanjana. So we can bring you in as well live in audio or on the live chat. And so technically everything is looking good. We're live streaming on YouTube. And I want to make sure that for Dami, who's on, I'll just show you Dami over here. Dami, who's over here on the smart board, I want to put right beside you. Good. On your left, I'll give you the feed so you can see the live chat. Okay, I've got that set up. So hold on a second. I just want to make sure Dami has that. And to do that, I need to do one little move here. And that would be for, that's pod number 2 over there. And it would be main. Okay, let's see if it comes up. There we go. There you go. So on the left there, Dami, that's the live chat. Excellent. Okay. So the DJ here of education has got everything set up. That's what it feels like. It's taken me a few years to do this. So, okay, hold on a second, because we will end up passing the microphone around. Daniel's here. So Daniel, that's Arshpreet, that's Hassan, that's Dami on the smart board, and one of them, Hassan or Arshpreet, will give you the microphone when we move around, okay? But I would like to tell you what to expect. We're going to meet somebody in about 40 minutes at 11 a.m. to 11:30. I think a really cool guest. And already this morning, when Daniel walked in a perfect moment that relates so much to what our guest is talking about today, Daniel said, my transmission cable broke in my car today. And, well, what does this have to do with being a global leader? Well, guess what? Today's class is all about fixing. How you develop the mindset of being a fixer. Because that's what leaders do. They fix and they heal and they problem solve. But there's a very specific thing around fixing that I want to introduce you to. There is an organization called Repair Cafe. Probably none of you have heard of it, but it's an international organization, and I'm involved with it in Toronto, and we put on repair events all around Toronto, and it's a big movement. It's been written about a lot. It's been in the media. Basically, people come who love to fix things, whether it's computers or appliances, and they sit in a big room, whether it's a library or a community center, a church, a school, increasingly, and the people who have things to fix. Lots of people have things to fix. We have the world to fix, but it could be just, your phone. You sit with the fixer. You have a cup of coffee and a pastry on a Saturday morning, and you learn how to fix that thing with the fixer. Today, you're going to meet a young leader named Alvin Ramatur, and he is one of our leaders in the Repair Cafe. Young guy who is going to tell you all about how he got involved in this and why he's now involved in leading the Repair Cafe going forwards. So he is definitely an emerging global leader. And I couldn't ask for anything better than a student to walk in and say, my car is broke. But here's the thing that Daniel did. I didn't finish the story. Daniel did not do what I do when my transmission breaks, which it has recently, which is I go to the garage and I get angry at the mechanic for a mess up that was supposed to have been fixed a while ago. Here's what Daniel did. Well, actually, hold on. We're going to get started, okay? Let's give Daniel the mic. Why don't you come up and sit on the high chair, and we'll give Daniel the microphone. Daniel, why don't you tell everybody what you did when something broke? Okay. Now, this is a leadership quality. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. The first thing I did do was I looked at how expensive mechanics usually are and how expensive it would be to get somebody else to do that. And then I realized that mechanics make like 5 times more than what I make an hour. So if I took 5 hours on a problem that usually takes a mechanic 1 hour, it's financially probably a better decision for me to fix it. And that's kind of how I made that decision. And then once I made that decision, I just took all my time and just researched online because I was like, okay, well, if I'm probably going to end up paying a mechanic for 3 hours to look at my transmission, I got 15 hours to figure this out before my money runs out.
And
For
how
time.
many hours did it take you to figure out in the end?
20 minutes.
So, gentlemen, it's just all men in person right now or online. We're jumping right into this, okay? I'm just forgetting about the review and everything. Let's just get into it, and I'll deal with everything later. There's a lot I need to tell you, but when something like this happens, this is a teachable moment, and I'm into seizing the moment. That's what leaders do. You seize the moment. When something happens, you jump on it. You get ahead. So, what exactly is Daniel displaying when it comes to global leadership? Hassan, you want to try answering that? Why don't you come and sit here, because you're going to be reading your first reflection out loud. So come take the high chair and join us, and Dami, maybe get some notes going on these qualities, and then we'll get moving. Okay. So what exactly in Daniel's little story so far is he telling us about global leadership? Think about it. I'm just going to shut the door. So, come on. Yeah, come on in. Okay, grab a seat. Yeah, good. Yeah, I like this. The class should feel like a train station. People just pop in and pop out and have a good conversation. And no, nothing. Okay, it's early in the morning. All right. Do you need some time to get your head together and go to the couch and then come back? Or you want to stay here? Is it okay to stay on the high chair? Yeah, good. Okay, because so Dami, you heard this. I'm kind of having fun this morning. Let's go over to Dami real fast. And so, what would you say in Daniel's story is a quality or qualities of global leadership that he's displayed?
Is this on? Yeah. Can you
Want to repeat?
reiterate?
Go ahead and tell the story again, so everyone hears. All right, fair enough.
Okay, I didn't really say that clearly. So one day I was driving in my car and I go to pull in my driveway and my stick shift, or not, it's not stick shift, it's an automatic transmission. When I go to put it in drive, it just didn't move. Like the transmission didn't flip, it just stayed in park. So I was like, well, I can't move my car now. And then I realized my transmission had to be blown in some way. I didn't really want to tow it. So instead of towing it or paying a mechanic, I decided to just look online for ways to fix it and just played around until I figured out, or well, it wasn't very hard to see what was wrong with it, but I was kind of lucky, I guess, that nothing was that wrong with it. And instead of taking it to mechanic or going ahead, I just took a look for myself before I, jump to conclusions, if you will.
So it's like, come on in, Farah and Maureen. Yeah, grab a seat here, and we've started. In this small story, there's a lot going on that may not be apparent about leadership. And what do you think, Dami? Like, just to write down some things,
I think he took matters into his own hands, and he like controlled what he could control. He yeah, that's the
He-
best way I could put it.
He took it in his own hands, and he controlled what he can control. Why don't we write down "took it in his own hands"? He took it. So he didn't put it in somebody else's hands, right? This is what a leader does. Somebody who takes responsibility. You took. Then he did something else that's really significant. And you're going to hear a lot from Alvin at 11 this morning in terms of his involvement with the Repair Cafe movement, which is a growing international movement. It's really amazing. I'm going to show you a video about it shortly. You did some homework. You did some home. You didn't just take it to somebody and say, "Look at my problem. Help me. Fix it for me." You started poking around and doing some research, right?
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, when it comes to most problems, I do look for help usually first,
Yeah.
but it was just really expensive to get help. So I was like, it's worth a shot, right?
Yeah.
It's worth my time, if you will. Because if I'm gonna spend that much on a mechanic's time,
Sure.
do I really think a mechanic's 5 times smarter than me when it comes to figuring out an issue? I mean, yes, they've been studying it for however many years,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty good at reading like if there's a diagram or something, I can read a diagram and I'm pretty good at like fixing stuff. I've been in the trade, so
Yeah.
I just have I feel like I have enough confidence in myself to say, you know, paying someone 5 times
Absolutely.
what I'm worth. I
But
can't do
also, you fixed it in about 20 minutes to 30 minutes,
that.
you
So,
said, right? And you
exactly.
thought that it was going to be a lot longer, and you did it in a lot shorter.
Yeah, they minimum charge 3 hours for that, for checking it. So they would have charged 3 hours to open up what took me 2 seconds to open up, and they would end up charging me, like, at even my mechanic, like, $300 at very bare
Yeah.
minimum.
Okay. Let's while we're gonna finish this up and then we're gonna move on and bring Maureen in today if she can, because she said she would come and today help with the class a little bit. That's leadership. I didn't ask for it. She took the initiative, and I said yes. So, what other little lessons can we say about the leadership that Daniel has demonstrated in fixing the cable on his transmission that we could put on the board that represents some did research. I put the smart board in the middle today because I think this is really the critical part of our classes is what we learn together. So it's right there. Confidence, absolutely. Excuse me, confidence that you could, but you weren't entirely sure, right, Daniel? But you felt confident in your intellectual ability to figure it out. Yeah, confidence. Carrie Ann, right? Yeah, Carrie Ann. Yeah. I can do it. I can do it. That's a great. You can figure it now. What about the idea that some people say that we live at a time of what we call a golden age of learning, democratization of learning, that knowledge is available to us at our fingertips now on our devices. So Daniel was able to access information. He didn't need to go to the library or go to some place to find out. He could get it. How did you determine when you looked at the sources whether it was good help or not good help? How did you know what to trust when you went to a video and maybe you were being told something that was not true?
I feel like a lot of it, like a lot of it comes down to when you are researching something, realizing where your level of understanding is at. Because I knew when I first was looking at videos that I just don't understand a transmission. So what I first did was research how an automatic transmission worked. And then once I knew how an automatic transmission worked, I could understand what the videos were trying to say
Right.
and read between the lines. But if you don't understand what you are missing, then how do you know who's telling the truth? Yeah. You, like, you know what I mean? it's like if you look at it, people who are checking or analyzing, or like, for example, quality assurance at a company, they're
Yes.
going to be the most experienced people when it comes to products, because those are the only people who have enough experience to see what's there and see what's missing.
They're educated in
Right.
their field. They're trained. Trained.
It's easy to see what's there, but it's hard to see what's missing. That's kind of what my point is where like it's easy to watch a whole bunch of videos and to see like what to do, but it's hard to see where they've potentially gone wrong, like you're saying.
I just want to remind everybody that before we move on, that this is very much on bullseye right now with today's class, because I walked into today's class to do a class on fixing. This is a very important part of leadership, problem solving and fixing things. And you're going to meet very shortly a young fixer in his early 20s who's involved in the Repair Cafe movement, the global movement. And he's really quite inspiring, but he loves to get inside machines and computers and take them apart and fix them. So just want to remind everyone that that's where we are for those who just walked in. I have one final question, but does anybody have anything they'd like to add to Dami's notes at this point in terms of what sorts of insights we're gaining about leadership from Daniel's story right now? Things that you can take away with you. You're learning from a person like yourself. I'm just helping you. Ready to acquire knowledge, confidence, did research, sought guidance. Do we have anything in the live chat or jump on your audio? Daniel, go ahead.
If I were to put in words, the one thing that I like really think was important that I did that maybe other people wouldn't do is just be humble with your how much knowledge I thought that I had. You know what I mean? I didn't over think like I didn't think that I knew more than I did.
You knew what you didn't know.
Yes.
You knew what you didn't know. You were realistic.
Realistic,
Right, yeah.
yes. So I think that's like a lot of the time I see my buddies will try to fix their car and then they'll go down a path where they'll like try to be an engineer, and it's like, well, you got to learn the basics first, right?
Sure.
you got to know what
Absolutely. Absolutely. Way to go. Okay, I have one final thing to say, just something that may not be so apparent to all of you. Do you know that yesterday was World Mental Health Day? Now, we're going to stay on focus with our class, Global Leader, and today about fixing, but there's many, many things we can bring into this class about what's happening in the world that can rattle us, including now a new war that's opened up in the Middle East. But that's something else. We can talk about that some other time. My point is that the world had a mental health day yesterday. And as a matter of fact, today, over in the gym, right now, you could actually go online and you would see a renowned speaker and mental health advocate, Mike Shorman, is speaking just over in the gym right now. So, oh, good. Paul is here. Grab it. Yeah, excellent. Come on in, Paula. I'd like to remind you that at the beating heart of a lot of stress and mental health disorder today is a thing called anxiety. I don't need to ask any of you if you have anxiety because I know what the answer is. Everybody does, and it's normal, okay? The question is how you deal with it. We live in a time, our complex global civilization, that is very entangled, complex. And we have a thing now called permacrisis that we have to deal with. It's a new word. Just write that down, permacrisis. Permacrisis. It's like every day we wake up to a new crisis, a new problem. That is if you're going beyond TikTok and beyond Instagram and you're actually lifting your head and looking at the whole world, not just your own little community, your own tribe. PER, it's a new word, permacrisis. PERMA, crisis, permacrisis. Managing our anxiety and our stress critical to being healthy. So here's my question, Daniel. When you were fixing this, you were like, were you kind of calm when you were looking around, or were you really rattled and jumping around from website to YouTube, and then you couldn't hold a thought longer than 5 seconds in your head, and you can't, or when you were actually beginning to solve this problem, did you need to kind of focus and be more calm?
I most definitely. I would say that when the transmission broke, I was not of the right mental space to fix it. So I just decided to walk away from it until I
Seriously.
had the time to do it because I was like, it was parked on the side of the street. So it wasn't a bad spot. If it wasn't a bad spot, it would have been an emergency. But since it was an emergency, I was just like, why am I gonna spend my time on this? I can get to school on the bus. Like
So you're not making this up just to tell me what I'd love to hear. You're telling me the truth.
no, I don't know. I freak out at things, so I just decided not to. It wasn't worth me freaking out or my time or my energy.
What would you say, based on what he did, is another critical quality of leadership? What's that, Tammy? He was patient. Paula. Absolutely. He was problem solving, but in order to problem solve, you need to deal with complexity, because all problems are like you had a little complex problem. You've got the cable, you've got the transmission, you've got the car, you've got this. So how do I put it all together? You're going to see Alvin talk about this stuff at 11 a.m. But I thank you so much for walking in and sharing this story, because it's very much. And I'm going to ask you, because I'm being a little paranoid. Are you telling me the truth? Sorry, I couldn't resist. What's that? Okay. No, that's no big deal. Okay. All right. So, unless we're any other questions or anything from the online group, Christina, Mandeep, Sanjana, and who else? Ajoy. Oh, there's some more joining. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add from the cosmos, from the online cosmos, Planet C, Planet M, SS, Ajoy, about Daniel's story before we're going to go over to Hassan and listen to him speak? Thanks, Daniel. I'm going to give
Hey,
this.
Professor.
Oh, hi, Ajoy. Yeah, come on in.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi. Yeah, thank you for your kind participation. I successfully submit yesterday. Hope we shall overcome someday soon.
Let me just remind Ajoy, are you able to share your video? Can we see you?
Yes, you can.
Oh, great. Okay. Let's just get everybody clear here right now. Video for Ajoy has been turned off to save bandwidth. Okay, fair enough. You can turn it off to save bandwidth. I'll come back to here. Can anybody remember where Ajoy is on the map right now? Kind of direct us. Do you know what country, even what city Ajoy is joining us from? Just a sec. Dami? Bangladesh. Okay, there he is. Good. Let me bring his. This is Ajoy. We're just going to do a tiny bit of geography here, okay, for everybody to remember where. Let's take a look at the map for a moment of human civilization flattened out over planet Earth. And Dami, would you like to hold the mic and tell us where? I'm going to bring the enlarged cursor over here. Okay. So where is Bangladesh? Is Bangladesh in Europe? Is Bangladesh in Africa? No. Okay. So let's see. Let's get some orientation here. Asia. Yeah. Okay. Ajoy, can you see on your can you see the map on the dashboard with my arrow?
Yes.
Great.
Yes,
okay.
I can see.
So why don't we let Ajoy, since he's sitting right there, right now live, And what time is it there right now, Ajoy?
It's 8:45 p.m. at night.
It's nighttime. Okay. So it's night. Could you just direct my arrow? My arrow is sitting over Russia, which I want to get away from Russia right now. That's not good. North Pacific. No, I'm not going to say anything bad about politics right now. So North Pacific Ocean. Where should I go? Should I bring it? Just direct me, okay? Where's Bangladesh? Okay, I'll help you. Here we go. Mongolia, once upon a time, just north of China, was an amazing empire of Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan, you know, the great warriors riding their horses, turned around bareback, and they established the greatest empire, the land empire, greatest contiguous empire connected in all of the history of humanity. But that was a long time ago. Empires come and go. Okay, so yes. Oh, Maureen, could you do me a favor? You stay up here, Hassan. Maureen's going to hand out the microphone today, and we're going to get something going. You can hang on to yours, okay? Go ahead.
Do you believe that the Earth is flat or round?
Do I believe the Earth is flat? Do I think elephants fly? Well, yeah, in a time when I've had a few too many to drink, or maybe been at the club dancing, and then I think a lot of things. But no, I believe the Earth is a sphere. And as a matter of fact, I'm not the only one, because if you look at the dashboard today, in Las Vegas, just this week, they've just created this amazing sphere, $2 billion sphere that's just opened up in Las Vegas. And let me bring this back. You'll see it here. And there it is. If you go to Las Vegas now, there's a $2 billion sphere that's sitting on the skyline of Las Vegas, an amazing structure. And U2, the Irish band, held a concert in there this week. And that's what I was also displaying for you here, was just to give you a little sense of what was happening inside the sphere in Las Vegas. So obviously, I'm not the only one who thinks the Earth is a sphere or round, but I mean, we can look at the science on that too. Are you asking that question seriously?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. Well, okay, let's stop for a second. Let's stop. We're not afraid of dealing with anything in this class, okay? What's your name again? It's
Josh.
Josh. Okay, Josh. Why would you think, or maybe I'm wrong, why would you think the Earth is not a sphere and is not round?
No, I don't think it's not a sphere, it's not round, but because of the many opinions and the discussion about the Earth being flat, it kind of raises up questions as to why people think that way or think that the Earth is flat.
Well, it has been said, Josh, that a lie is often more compelling than the truth. And it has been said as well that today, when something is said over and over and over again, even if it's untrue, but it gets repeated again and again and again and again, people start to believe it's true. So I think there might be an element of this going on with that concept. All of the science, all of the navigation and space exploration, going back many hundreds of years, has been very clear about the fact that in our solar system, where we get our heat and where we get our energy and where life began through the heat of the sun, making the Earth begin to warm up, we have what we have on the Earth, which is life, and we have so much. The sun is round. The objects that orbit the sun are round. Those are Venus, Mercury, Earth, and Mars, and others. I probably don't need to tell you that because you know that. I know that what you're saying, though, is something very disturbing to me, which is that online you can hear again and again things repeated that really aren't true. It's called pseudoscience. There's a word for that.
Yeah,
Pseudoscience. And you repeat that enough,
and also,
people start to buy into it. Go ahead, Ajoy. Yeah.
yeah, in our communications studies, we also mention this. We call the propaganda theory made by Joseph Goebbels.
Say that again. Oh, we didn't catch. Can you write that in the live chat so we get that correctly? Okay. That's great.
Okay, I said about these things. What you said in our communication studies, we call it the propaganda theory made by Joseph
Propaganda
Goebbels.
theory. Let's make sure we get that in the notes, okay? When it comes in on the you're gonna put it in the live chat, right, Ajoy? Put it in the live chat, and Dami will put it in the notes. Ajoy, I just want to remind you, is a graduate of a top university, the Daffodil International University in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, and we still haven't identified where Bangladesh is. But here it is. It's this tiny country right here, northeast of India. And it is a very small place, but it has one of the most largest number of human beings crushed into a small space. What's the population of Bangladesh again, Ajoy? Approximately. How many millions of people in Bangladesh? But is it 300 million? Something like that?
No, 200.
200 million? And take a look, just so you get this. This map, by the way, is not completely to scale in terms of the oceans. Like the Atlantic Ocean is a lot wider, so is the Pacific, but you get a sense of the shape and some basic ideas. Take a look at the size of Bangladesh compared to Canada. Much, 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 much smaller. Our population is 40 million. Yeah. So Ajoy always has a lot to add in the class, apart from the fact that he comes from such a different place, but also because he's a scholar and he's studied a lot and he really cares about knowledge. And so for him to tell us something, I think we should listen. We should listen to everybody in this class. But I don't know, does anyone have anything they'd like to say to Josh about this idea of how do you deal with, and I may be wrong, Josh, but a lot of stuff online that is telling you something that is definitely untrue, but you start to wonder when it gets repeated, well, maybe it is true. Is that fair, Josh, for me to say? Yeah. This is very dangerous. Think about it for a moment. Anyone want to say anything to this before we, how do we fix this? Yeah.
For me,
Yes.
it got to a point when I started like, hold on, man, maybe the Earth is flat because shit, why wouldn't it be flat? It's standing on the flat Earth, right?
Yes.
Then I started to look for I started doing research and looking for like evidence, and the only thing that cannot be beaten was the fact that like if let's say you're at the beach, right? You're just looking down. I think we call that the
Horizon.
horizon.
Yeah, go on.
When there's a boat or like a big boat sailing, you see the sail first, and then everything just gradually comes. Like you gradually see the whole boat. And if the Earth was flat, that wouldn't be the case, right? Because you would just see like a tiny speck, but like completely. But because it's round, you can see it gradually like coming up.
You are doing what Christopher Columbus did. This is very good, the example. Daniel, you want to add to this? Because I'm going to give you some proof here, Josh, that will help you understand something about how we've known that the planet is round for a long time based on pure observation. But Daniel?
I was gonna say originally, just in general, I think a lot of the like online pseudoscience is kind of created from like it's more of like I don't think it's necessarily trying to actually it's not coming from the same place that science is actually coming from. I think like what you were talking about that you describe as pseudoscience, I think it's more of a culture of just questioning everything. That's what I kind of get from the internet. I
Sure.
think the internet has a culture of nothing can be defined as true. We have to prove things. And so I think that's where a lot of that comes from is like that whole
Sure.
flat earth thing. I don't really think many people actually believe the earth is flat, more of they don't believe that every single thing they've been told is true.
True. That's really well
Thus,
put. I-
they're just willing to question it all. And so like it is fair to have the conversation. It's just maybe we don't, like if you are engineering things that are putting people's lives on the line, maybe you wouldn't have that person be a flat earther because, it doesn't align with our current understanding of math. But when it comes to the average person, you can't tell them not to question that. You know what I mean? Like they can question whatever they want.
However, let's see where we draw the line. Okay, when it becomes maybe a person acts violently because of something that isn't true. Ajoy has just written in the live chat something quite important. And Ajoy, I'm just going to read what you wrote, okay? Joseph Goebbels. Do any of you know the name Joseph Goebbels was one of the senior leaders of the fascist movement in Germany during the Second World War, a close associate of Hitler. He ran the Nazi propaganda machine during the Second World War. Here's what he said. I know this quote, and I'm glad Ajoy's put it. Repeat it 1,000 times, and it becomes the truth. Joseph Goebbels, propaganda, chief of the Nazi Party. Beware of anything that you are hearing. Exactly. Beware of anything that you are hearing 1,000 times. But then what happens if somebody reads that and decides, you know what? He's right, Goebbels. All the people who have mental illness, all the gypsies, all the Jews, all the people who don't have blue eyes and white face, they are not human beings. They're savages. Let's liquidate them all. It's called genocide. And we had genocide in the Second World War as a result of stuff like that. People start to act violently, believing that this stuff is true. So beware. That's all. We have to beware that we start to think this stuff is true and we literally act. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to do something. Then we're in a dangerous territory. I can't believe we're talking about this. This is very interesting today. And Alvin is going to be able to address something else, but how do we fix this idea that there's so much stuff out there that's being repeated? What do we do, Josh? Because it's dangerous when people start to act violently after they hear something 1,000 times and they think it's true and we know it's not. What do we do?
I think it's important to actually do like extensive research, like Dammy did, and also like the way I asked the question. It's good to ask questions and talk to other people, and just exchange information and gain different perspectives on the topic. And so, yeah, I feel like with these type of things, when it comes to the internet, there's so much information on it, and it's so easy to put information on it that you can get lost, and believe whatever. So I think it's good to definitely do extensive research and not be ignorant and just believe whatever. Yeah.
You know what Shakespeare said about ignorance? The only darkness in our lives is ignorance. So get smart. That was my favorite TV show when I grew up. It's called Get Smart. It's about an agent. You can see it. I love that show, Maxwell Smartin. Okay, listen. Let's stop for a second and make sure we're on target because Alvin, I think I see him now. He is in the class, and I want to bring you the guest and carry on with the class and stay on target. But Josh, I want to thank you for bringing things to the class that are really difficult to talk about. But this is important because we live in a time where information has never been more available, and we need to understand how to discriminate and figure out what's real and what isn't, what's good information and what isn't, and get educated. Make sure. Okay. So I'm going to introduce somebody to you right now, and I will show you a video maybe later. We're just going to move things along. Did any of you watch the video that I posted in the class folder? And this is a moment of truth for me always, and I don't want to get an answer because I know the students are all going to go, no, I didn't see it, I didn't view it. But in the announcement that I posted on DC Connect a few days ago, I said, in red, please review 2 things in the folder, but it's okay. I can tell by the faces that I'm looking out at right now that nobody saw the video or read anything because everybody's just too busy with a million things, including Carrie Ann, who has a family and to take care of. So we'll figure everything out now, okay? Alvin, I'm gonna bring you in full screen now and put you right up here, nice and large. There we go. There we go. There is Alvin. And Alvin, I had a chance to introduce you a little bit, and then we got going on a bigger discussion, but can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and
Yeah,
clear.
great. Okay. Excellent. So we have Alvin's time for a half an hour. And just to remind you, what is today's theme, more or less? Just want to make sure everybody's clear because we were paddling down another creek here for a moment, but we're back. What's today's theme, the critical thing that we're exploring around leadership that I introduced? Fixing. You got it, fixing. That a leader is somebody who's able to do what Daniel did. And Alvin, by way of introducing you a little bit more, I just want you to know that the person who's sitting right here, over here, Daniel walked in this morning and he got the class going immediately by saying, the cable in my transmission broke. And he then told the story of fixing it himself. So let me just introduce a little bit more Alvin and why I think he's somebody who should be brought into a class on global leadership. First, Alvin, how old are you?
I'm near on 25 now.
25. Okay. So we have students here that are in their early 20s and late teens, and I did tell you in the course outline this would be about emerging global leaders. You met Maureen, her sister, last week, and you're going to meet many more people. So these are young people who display qualities of leadership. Alvin, just a little bit before we get going and tell a bit of your story. Where were you born?
I was born in Toronto.
And your father?
My father and my mother are from Guyana.
From Guyana. Okay, great. Can you just help us a little bit? Can you see the map of the world on the? Oh, that's YouTube. 10 seconds ago. Don't worry about that. Can you see the map of the world fairly clearly on the dashboard behind me, Alvin?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so make it full screen. One of our classmates today is Ajoy. Just so you know, you can see him there. He's over in Dhaka in Bangladesh, capital of Bangladesh. But could you direct this arrow for everybody so we know where you kind of come from originally, at least your parents? Where's Guyana?
Sure. It's in South America,
Okay,
right
so we're
beside Brazil, close to the coast.
right in here. South of Venezuela or north? South here? A little bit?
Let's see. A little tricky to see where the cursor is.
Yeah, if Guyana is right, because it's a small country like Bangladesh as well, But here we go. So we see Venezuela. Caracas is the capital of Great Venezuela. Here's Guyana, bordering right here. Okay. So we have Ajoy from Bangladesh. We've got, Alvin from from Toronto. But would you say that your Guyanese roots are kind of important?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Really? Why is that? You were born in Toronto.
It wasn't so much of choice, but rather because of some political issues in Guyana at the time. My parents came over to Canada as refugees.
Right. And so, okay, just want you to get a sense that we're dealing with another Canadian. I mean, look at this class. Have you noticed? A turban here, a Jew here, black. We've got very important, devoted young women who are globally minded, but their religion, Islam, is very important to them, and yet they come from India. I mean, it's just the whole, they're global, right? And I'm going to ask Carrie Ann, where you're from? Jamaica. Okay, good. Okay, so just establishing something about, the kind of people we have in this class represent the world that we live in today. It's a complex, entangled world, and everybody's traveling, moving around, and it's difficult. There's a lot of conflict, a lot of war because of this, but there's also a future for the optimists that could be quite something for humanity. Okay, Alvin, could you just tell the class, how did you start to become involved in fixing things? Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I've always loved fixing things, even when I was really small. I think one of the first things that I fixed was a keyboard I broke for my father when I was really small, like probably 4 or 5 years old. In part, it kind of introduced me to computers, which is primarily where I am today. It's what I studied, what I graduated for, what I work with. But it's also kind of introduced me to fixing, to the ability of, taking something that's probably damaged, that's nearing an end of its life, and saying, no, like that's not it. There's more to it than that.
And so then how did you kind of find this thing called Repair Cafe, and how did you get involved in this? Tell them about what Repair Cafe is and what you do with this organization called Repair Cafe. Please go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So it was in my second year, I believe, when I skipped one of my really boring telecom classes, and I heard that there was something called a Repair Cafe happening at another campus over. So I went to check it out, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I went there as a guest. I saw a lot of people bringing in items, a lot of people working together to get them fixed. There were a lot of ideas flowing back and forth. There was a lot of knowledge shared. And at the end of the day, regardless of whether an item got fixed or not, I saw the guests were pretty happy with the outcome. And the fixers that were there were also pretty happy with the outcome, which I found to be a little interesting, because whenever I'm dealing with a broken item, if I don't get it fixed, it kind of ticks me off personally. But here at this event, though, we have people bringing in broken items. We have people fixing those items. We have volunteers and guests in the community, and they're all having a good time. And it kind of made me interested. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more about what the Repair Cafe is about. So I came back for the next event, and then the next event, and I've been doing it since. For those that have probably not heard too much about the Repair Cafe, the Repair Cafe itself is an idea. It's an organization started somewhere in Europe, and it's
Amsterdam. Started in Amsterdam,
and it's grown to be global. There are repair cafes in Canada, repair cafes in the States, all around the world. And they all focus on one thing, right? They all focus on well, I shouldn't say one thing. Each has their own little specialty, but at the end of the day, they're all bringing some really valuable ideals. Whereas we're reducing the amount of waste, we're improving the amount of transferable skills that are within groups within the community. At the same time, we're making changes, right? We're making changes to the way that people view items, the way people view what's previously something that would just be perishable or have a fixed lifetime, and we're tacking on a couple more years to it, and we're changing the way that we design products like that today. The Repair Cafe has done a lot of great work to change legislation around Canada and around the world to make things more repairable. Because there's a lot of great value, not just to the environment, not just to corporations, but also to people, right? To the end users of these products, these technologies. In a nutshell, what the Repair Cafe is, when you get down to brass tacks, is we have guests in the community. They bring in items. These can be anything from a laptop to a pair of jeans to a worn book. And we have fixers that are a part of this little Repair Cafe group. These fixers are community members, just like the guest is coming in. They can be a elementary school teacher. They can be a professional in the industry. They could be a student, right? They could be like me, and they all come in and they work together with our guests to not just get the item fixed, because while that is always a really desirable outcome, it's not always the focus of the Repair Cafe. The important thing is that at the end of the day, the client that brought in the item knows what's wrong with it and knows what to do to fix it and how to fix it. And most of the time at the day of in the Repair Cafe, we do that. We get right into it. We start disassembling things and we get that fix going. There are some times, of course, where somebody brings in an item and there's a part that we don't have, maybe like a replacement screen for a phone, in which case, we give them the knowledge, the tools, what they need to repair this themselves, or the info that they need, of course, to get that screen, get that replacement part. And in the next Repair Cafe, we work together with them to get it fixed.
This is great. Let me just stop you for a second so students know and our classmates know that I'm putting some things up on the dashboard and trying to be fancy. I'm trying to stick handle right now, okay? And I have a new stick and some new tape that I want to show off, okay? So I'm trying to do this. And let me know if it gets confusing. But I've got the Repair Cafe website going by now on the dashboard, okay, Alvin? So they can see. Can you, Ajoy, can you see the Repair Cafe website on the dashboard?
Yes, yes.
Great. And so, Alvin, as we continue to talk, let's. I'm just going to keep this up here so students can see a little bit more of the website and events and also I think that I should bring this amazing infographic that was done. Let me see if I can bring that full screen. Yeah, look at this. Repair Cafe celebrating our 10 years in data. And Repair Cafe Toronto has organized 364 events in collaboration with various local community organizations. And over 10,851 items have been fixed. 81% of all items received have been diverted from landfill. So it's doing a lot of very interesting work. And what I'd like to do is Alvin, give students a chance to really talk to you and ask you some questions about this idea of, what you're doing and why you're doing it. And to remember that it all started with Daniel today, walking in here. And I had a plan to bring Alvin in, but I jumped on the moment. I seized the moment. That's what leaders do. When they see the opportunity, it's like they smell it, they jump on it, get everybody out of the way because that's mine. Okay, that's called getting out in front. Getting out in front. Okay, so based on what Alvin has said so far about the Repair Cafe and his involvement in fixing you have any questions before we start to kind of break down what kinds of leadership qualities he's displaying in this, what we can learn from this? Definitely, Daniel. Come on, why don't you stay over here so he can see your face, okay? Because it all started with Daniel today. Stay up here, okay? And that's great. So go ahead. All right.
I was gonna ask, what did you said you started repairing keyboards, or like the first thing you repaired was a keyboard. What is your like favorite thing to fix? I guess like do you like mechanical things, technical things, et cetera, et cetera?
Hey, thanks, Daniel. That's a great question. Personally, I specialize in computers and small electronics, things like tablets, cell phones, but primarily computers.
And then I guess my next question would be, what do you have in your computer?
What do I have in my computer? Oh, man.
Yeah,
My computer is a
sure-
dated machine. I'm
I'm
not
sure
sure.
I'm sure it's a lot better than mine.
Well, my lab at home is a little bit unconventional because my computer's not actually that great. It's not really a powerhouse. It's a couple generations old, probably nearing on 7 years now. But what I make up for it is I don't really do any big compute on it. I pretty much almost use it as a thin client, I guess with the exception of gaming. I have my own home lab server, which I run a lot of infrastructure off of. Well, I have two servers. In fact, I don't know if you can kind of hear them in the background there. They're in a room beside where I am right now. And they run a lot of the infrastructure that I host, not just for my own projects, but for a couple of other nonprofits that I volunteer with. I just host it straight out of my network. And I primarily use them for my compute. So my own tower doesn't really, it's not really that powerful, but it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, we've got no, go ahead, Daniel. And we're going to move the mic. Go ahead and ask, and then we'll move the mic around, okay? Yeah.
What games do you play?
Yeah. Good. Thanks.
These
And
days,
Ajoy, we're coming
yeah.
to you in a moment, okay, Ajoy? Go ahead.
These days I've been playing a lot of Civ, Sid Meier's Civilization, Civ 6.
Is that good? Is that good? Okay, Civ. Yeah, you got a buddy here. Civ 4? Civ 4, he can't hear you there, so I'll have to. Civ 4? Civ 4? Alvin?
Civ 4, ooh, I've played it, but I cannot get used to the graphic style.
Uh-huh.
It is pretty old. Civ
Okay.
4?
Let's get Josh, and then we're going to come to Ajoy Dhaka, okay? Got a question, but go ahead, Josh.
Where and when did you develop like your repairing skills?
That is a great question. And when I think of my repair skills, I never really see them as something that's complete. I don't think I'll ever see them as complete. I don't think there'll be a day in the future will be like, yes, that's it. I can repair computers, or I can repair cell phones or laptops. It's always something that's evolving. And a lot of the experience that I have today is stuff that I've gained at the Repair Cafe. Just working together with other really skilled fixers in the community, working on my own projects at home, in the community, just tinkering with stuff. That's primarily how I get my skills. The internet's a big wealth of information online in terms of the both the technical and the skills that you can apply to fixing stuff. So I've been using that as a pretty good technical resource. But when it comes down to applying it, yeah, I've just been doing it myself pretty much on Tech IC at the Repair Cafe, Tech IC personally, and I've been improving my skills that way.
Self-learner. I guess that there's a lot of truth when we say that really in college or university and a post-secondary institution, if we can kindle profoundly the desire to learn and be a lifelong learner, you will be set, because you will always find a way. But if you look upon an academic institution as a place that gives you the knowledge that you need, and then it ends when you leave, you're kind of setting yourself up for problems in life. So you're a real self learner, aren't you, Alvin? In a way,
Yeah.
would you say that that's a really important thing, kind of like Daniel displayed? You're ready to learn on your own, right?
I think that's for sure a core tenet for the stuff I do on my day to day, whether it's for the repair cafe, in my work, in other community projects. I have to be self sufficient. I have to be able to self learn, because especially in my industry, in the technology industry, things change really quickly. There's a technology or a tool that you're using today that's probably going to be deprecated tomorrow. So you cannot always rely on information that you'd find in documentation or information that you'll find online. There are times when you will just have to get dirty with that technology and learn how it works yourself, because that is sometimes the most time efficient method to do so. There's a lot of things you gain by doing that, for sure. One is, of course, that you're dealing with that tool, that technology, and you learn the core, almost like basic fundamentals about it that you can then apply to any other technique or any other way you want to implement that technology. And it also helps you, right? It helps you become a better self learner. It helps you be more efficient, right, in discovering what are the core tenets behind a problem, how to resolve that problem, what are the tools, the soft tools, right, that you would need as a person to get to the resolution. So yeah, self learning is key.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
key. Let me make sure I get Ajoy. Let him come in because he said it had. We'll come back, Josh, in a second. Okay, hold your thought. But it's great that you want to engage with, and I think for me as a 60-year-old educator, I'm inspired by younger people in their early 20s or less who display this desire to learn, because I know from the other side at 60 how critical that ability to love learning and keep learning has been in my own life. So hold your question. Ajoy, go ahead. Just jump on your microphone, please.
Well, thank you, Alvin. I have a trick question. My first question is, I just gone through your website, the Repair Cafe, but I didn't find any tools of your the people or the governing body or the staffs or somewhere. So, how you guys manage like this administration works?
Go ahead, Alvin. I could answer that, but you go ahead.
Yeah,
ahead.
so the Repair Cafe Toronto group, a lot of the administration is done by skilled fixers. A lot of people that are on that profile but don't necessarily announce that they're a part of the committee. I'm one of the committee members. Paul is probably on there. You'll find him. Same with Wei Chu. There are some really skilled people that have been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, and they're kind of what lead our initiatives, lead the direction that we go as a group. We don't really advertise, I suppose, at the Repair Cafe, like who was a part of the committee, what their role is, and what their seniority is. I think it's a good thing in a sense, right? Because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day to us, as long as we keep true to ourselves and what we're doing, and we're sticking to our goals and our tenets, right? That is beyond people, right? That's beyond technology, beyond whoever runs that body, right? Sure, they may take their own flavor on it, but as long as we remain true to those ideologies, then I think we'll be fine. And we've been doing a pretty good job at it, at least so far. For 10 years now, right? We've been doing it really good now for 10 years.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Ajoy, what's your other?
my-
Ajoy's got two. Go ahead. Ask the other question.
Yeah. My second question is how we can take the Repair Cafe as a non-government organization or as a skill development organization. What is the official format? Yeah.
Sure. Like you're meaning like in terms of our events, Ajoy?
No, in terms of the formation of organization, like is it the non-government NGO or the youth development or the skill development? There are some different types of organization. In which, how can we call this Repair Cafe? the formation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're primarily based on skill development. I'll take a look though, and I'll see if there's a formal group we fall under. But it should be skill development.
Go ahead,
First
take a
and
look, Alvin.
foremost,
And,
we're
yeah,
we're
Go ahead.
prioritizing improving the spread of transferable skills. We want to make sure, right, that people know how to repair. Kind of that whole teach a man to fish, right? Instead of giving people the fish. So that's always been one of our core tenets here. I think we fall under that group though legally. I'll take a look though and let you know.
Well, my last question, it's not a question, it's kind of an observation. Like as I saw the repair cafe and activities, it's very nice, especially it's a good way to engage the skillful people. So do you have, or do your committee have any idea to make a internship program for the students in the upcoming university, or the internship program to make more engagement and make more the positive change? Yeah.
Get ready for some notes, dummy. We're gonna put Go ahead, Alvin.
Yeah. So that's actually one of the things that I've been leading work on for the past couple of years that I've been a part of the committee here, trying to work on ways that we can kind of inject the work that we do at the Repair Cafe into academia. So how do we get it in post-secondary schools? How do we even get it in high schools? I have to say that in the past year or so, with happiness, that we've managed to get Sheridan College in on it. We're working on getting Seneca in on it. We've done a little bit of work with University of Toronto as well, along with other organizational groups like Brampton Library that work together with Sheridan College. And they now run it independently, right? Like we don't need to be a part of that process. They take it, they lead it on themselves. They have their own independent group of fixers, and they inject it into their own programs, into their own initiatives, even like Mission Zero at Sheridan, into their own internships. I know they have like both as part of a course internship now, and I think as part of a like a volunteer initiative that students can get involved into. So they're working out how to inject that into their own little their own little academics in any which way. But that's kind of where we want to see this, at least in post-secondary, is we want to get to a point here where there's more of what Sheridan College is doing, right? Where we give them the tools and techniques to implement, to kind of carry on the Repair Cafe ideologies, to realize the worth of what it is to the community, how students can value out of it, how staff can value out of it. And then they can take that, run with it, inject it into whatever programs, whatever courses or initiatives that they have.
I had a thought before we go to Josh. That's great. And Ajoy, we can.
Thank you, Alvin.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ajoy.
Good. Good. We'll come here for a second. I'd like to show you this 2 or 3 minute video about the Repair Cafe. There are many that have been done, but this one was done early on in the formation of it by the Canadian Press. And then we'll come back and finish up with Alvin, because Alvin, can you stay with us till around 11:40? Are you good for that?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Okay. And then we need to make finally some key notes with Dami on what is critical about leadership that Alvin has been helping us to understand today. In terms of the Repair Cafe itself, maybe we'll do a Repair Cafe in the global classroom together. We'll see, but okay, so I have to do a little stick handle here. Give me a moment. For those of you online right now, you can watch this video on your own in the class folder. If you go to the content page, you will see in the class folder, class 6, 11, it's called Spirit of Repair. So Ajoy, Alvin, Alvin, you know the video, Sanjana, Thakur, Nikhil, go ahead and watch this video now, The Spirit of Repair. Just make sure you mute your speaker or your microphone so we don't hear you playing the video, but you can watch it. And for those of you watching the recordings, you can watch this as well from the class folder. Now I'm going to put this video up for all of us here so we can hear it clearly and see it. And you'll get a feeling for what this place the events are like. And here we go. Spirit of Repair. And let me bring this. Volunteer. Sorry. Eric, that's you. We only have about 10 or 15 minutes left, and this is a critical part of the class because this is where we really get some insight for all of you on what you need to know. So let's take a deep breath right now and remember that we're all together and we are going to take everything that we've been exploring so far that started with Daniel's story. Josh had some important questions. Hold your question for a sec, okay, for Alvin. I want to make sure that we get this slide or two. Remember our real-time PowerPoint slides? This is critical. So let's start. Let's go around, and I'm going to ask each of you this. What you think is one quality about Alvin and what he's been doing with Repair Cafe that you really think demonstrates leadership, and not just leadership, but leadership for the 21st century. In the world today, it is not like the world of the past. It's a complex, volatile world. So what kinds of qualities do we really need to make sure we're out in front and leading and not following and falling behind? Okay. I'm not going to ask Carrie Ann. She's probably been up all night with her kids and her nursing, so at least she's here. and she's hearing things, and that's great. Okay. Do you want to? Did you hear? Is there something you want to add in terms of equality that you think? Did you get some of this? Okay. So, what do you think Alvin's saying about leadership and for the 21st century? That's really important. No? Okay. She's just thinking. Okay. Go to Josh. Go to Josh. Yeah. Thanks, Maureen. Josh, what should we put up in Dammy's notes?
For like a word, I'm not sure, but
Okay,
like
just a few, just whatever, and
what I
we'll kind of get it down.
notice, what he does, it takes like he needs to be constantly like learning and soaking in knowledge to be able to just like receive all types of different items and fix them. So I think that I don't know what the word is. Maybe we can like come up with it together. But he constantly needs to like be learning new things. I would say about his field.
Be a sponge,
I would say okay.
soak it up. What do you say? Continuous improvement. Yeah.
He did also say that he's always like it's a never ending thing. He's always developing new things, new ideas, and things of that nature.
Alvin, as you hear Josh say this, and we want to put it into a, well, Dammy's already at work on this. So watch what Dammy's doing with the notes, Alvin, and let's see if we have some real collective learning going on together. Developing new skills and, ooh, good, nice. Developing new skills and knowledge. Is that fair, Alvin? The leadership qualities that you're displaying, one of them is you develop new skills and knowledge. You're ready to do that, right?
Yeah.
Would you say,
that
Alvin?
sounds good.
Okay. Is that
Maybe
Josh?
the willingness to develop new skills. And all.
The willingness, yeah,
He
openness.
doesn't think that he knows everything. So
I think that comes into a pretty important aspect in which it's acceptance that I will never be a master at anything, because to be a master means that you will have known everything there is about repair, know everything there is about that tool, about that technology, and I don't think that's possible. That can't be possible in today's world. I don't know if that can ever be possible in the future, but that's got to be a pretty important one, because once you can reach that level, right, you'll understand to yourself that it's there is no bar that my studying can reach, right? No amount of skills or techniques that I have will ever reach this make-believe bar in my mind. Instead, you learn what you feel comfortable with, right? What you're willing to do, and you put that in your own hands, right? You take that into your own hands and you run with it, right? As far as you want to go, as far as you can go.
We could bring in, since we have an individual here who understands faith and religion very well, would we call that humility? Were you going to say, Farha? Yeah. Humility. Yeah. Go ahead, Farha, please. Humility. Yeah.
What I would say is like he is humble and he's kind because he's not keeping the knowledge to himself. He's spreading and sharing it. So we can see that pride or,
Yeah.
that thing in him. So that's what I felt.
That's great, Farha. Thank you. Generosity. That you learn, but then you give. Yeah, go ahead.
This kind of ties a few things together. I think like when you fix things, you realize that the problem can only be solved by multiple people. Like it takes you realize this actual size of the issue, and it gives you a much better understanding of how to fix things.
Brilliant. That is, I can tell you from experience, long years of experience, producing television shows and working outside the academic world, even here. You want to do something big and important, you got to work with a lot of people. It's collaboration. It's really well. That's wise. Way to go. Okay, so Josh, go ahead, and then we'll go to Paula, Arshpreet, and we want to get as many, and we'll try to get Hassan in, and maybe we'll see how he's doing. Okay, go ahead, Josh. Yeah.
He knows how to use like his resources. And I noticed also a pattern with Alvin and Daniel, right? Like they how they use the internet as a resource,
Yeah.
right? To fix things. And I also wanted to ask like how are you able to like navigate through like the false information to be able to reach your goal?
That's
The
for you,
internet.
Alvin. How do you navigate through the false information and get some good stuff that you can act on?
Oh, that's a great question. And there's a lot of a lot of little techniques that I've developed throughout the years. But I find a really good one is to just find good sources, and find a lot of them. Right? Don't just stick with one source for information. Find a lot of them. Another cool thing is I've learned to do is to be critical. Be critical about everything. Right? Don't take anything at face value. Always, pull up multiple different iterations or ways of doing something. Don't accept just one method, because again, it's not necessary that one method is wrong, but maybe that one method was right yesterday, not today, not tomorrow. Right? So it's important that you're always on top of things, willing to accept new information, and don't always look down all old information or wrong information, because there may be a truth behind it at one point or another. Maybe there was never a truth to begin with. But at the end of the day, if you're critical about all of that, you'll be able to find the answers you seek.
We'll go. Okay, Paula, we're going each person as best we can within our time. And if you Mujib, if you want to, you can add. Okay, something if you're. But if we need to make sure that the slides that we're creating now, that Dami's creating, have some really good takeaway, concrete, specific information about what Alvin's story and his experience tells us about global leadership. What quality would you say is critical that he's demonstrated?
I don't know. I can't think of anything else past what's already written down.
It's already there? Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's good. That means we've got lots of stuff. Pass it to Arshpreet. Go ahead, Arshpreet.
I think Alvin is doing the groundwork, so which is important for the leader to do with the people and help them. And he's a problem solver.
He's a problem solver.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should put something like that in the notes, that it's so simple and so basic, but it hasn't been written that way yet. It's nice. A leader is a problem solver. For sure. Solution oriented. Absolutely. And has the desire, the curiosity, and the confidence to want to come up with his or her own solution that is based on a grounded, good research, and is prepared to defend it, and is prepared to remember, imagination, courage, and perseverance, is prepared to persevere through the difficult parts where, for example, Alvin, what would you say is the longest you've ever spent on fixing something?
Oh, the longest? Probably a week. Probably a week. Yeah.
Okay. Come on. Okay,
Yeah. If I
tell
had to
us.
put that in hours, probably like 35, 36 hours in total.
We call that being dogged. You're like a dog with a bone, or persevere, or you have grit. They all mean the same thing. It's like you do not stop until you get this done. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. That's, wow, 36. Okay, Arshpreet, go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to ask you one question. Like it took you a week to solve the problem, so you fix it. Like you were not overthinking about it, man. It's not working. Should I quit it or not? What was the one thing you were keep going until I solve it? You never stop.
Like whenever I'm tackling a problem, or whenever I'm working on fixing something, and this can apply to stuff outside of the Repair Cafe too. is I always try to think of the end result, right? Like what do we want to achieve? What will doing this achieve? And what is the value of it, right? Because in some cases, it's pretty small. In other cases, it's pretty big. But at the end of the day, though, it's up to you, right? To take that, use that, prioritize your time because you guys are really busy, right? Everyone here is really busy. But you prioritize your time accordingly and work on getting it fixed. For me, at least, when I was working on that fix, that was to recover a super duper old machine. It was just some really low level data recovery, which is why it took really long. I always think about the end user and what the value is, and this data, while it is really old, is important data. This could have been data featuring this individual's late family, right? It could have been photos of their late family that they'll never be able to see again. It could be important financial documents, land documents, right? You always put it in context of, well, what's your end goal and what does it mean, right, to that person or to whoever owns that.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes left. Or for Mujib, is there anything you'd like to say to this? You're good? Okay. Juanita, we'll get Juanita and then we're going to finish up, okay? We won't get everybody, and then we'll take a quick look at Dami's notes, and maybe, Dami, there's something you want to add, okay, as well for finally, and then so we're going to do Juanita, we're going to do Alvin, and then we're going to do Dami, and then we'll do Alvin, and then we'll come back and wrap up in the next 3-4 minutes, okay? Juanita, go ahead.
I actually don't have anything else to say. I feel like everyone mentioned majority, like there's nothing else to say. Like,
okay, good.
Yeah.
That means, Dami, you got some good notes today. So, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
I think a critical takeaway is like when it comes to problem solving, patience is a very good thing to have because you have to have a cool, calm, and collected mind in order to be able to take your time and go through every detail of that, like to be able to see what the problem is before you can solve it.
You got to be ready to sweat the details.
Yeah.
How often have you been told by yet another book of self-improvement or self-empowerment, don't worry about sweating the details, take it easy, that's too difficult? Maybe the advice should be learn how to develop the patience and focus, calm, to sweat the details and keep going, and then you'll be able to get it done. Details are hard. But hard things, as Barack Obama once said, the former American president, and he had this on his desk. He literally had this on his desk, this expression, wonderful expression. Hard things are hard. Put that down. Think about that for a moment. Hard things are hard. What does hard mean in this? Difficult things are hard, meaning it takes time, it's difficult. But then when you get them accomplished, it's like a tree. You've built a hard thing, not a soft, mushy thing. It's a hard structure that will endure for a long time. So hard has a lot of meaning here. You want something that lasts, that has meaning? Do what the Buddhist does. Take the hard way, not the easy way. Does that make sense? Yeah. Maureen, do you want to say something? I see. Go ahead. We'll let Maureen and Daniel have the last words. And Alvin, we got to make sure, and then we're done. Okay, so Maureen, go ahead, please.
Just some of the things that the other students were saying was that I thought patience and perseverance was a major like quality to have in terms of like fixing, just because in the time of now we're living in an age of instant gratification where if something's broken down we just order online, get the same day shipping, or whatever. But in the days of old, that's what people did. They fixed stuff, right? There were like handymen and like people like artisans who you would go to like their stores or like even invite them home and they would come fix everything, because at the time it was expensive to get something new, or like the parts were so hard to find, like for new stuff. So it was always fixing. So I think now when we live in this time and age where we're like, oh, that's broken, we'll just order a new one. I think going back to fixing and having the repair cafes are so important.
Thanks, Maureen. Let's give it to Daniel, and then Alvin, you're going to have the final word, and then we're going to conclude, okay? So it all started with your transmission story, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, again about the details. I think, like, as in general, society has found more very, very complex ways to figure out problems. You just need more and more and more people who are interested in details, and like look at new cars versus old cars, for example. Whenever you have an issue with a new car, it's always a few $1,000s, and you got to get somebody who knows 5 years of experience to go get it fixed. Back in the day, like my dad tells me stories about how he would go to his shop class and basically just take any problem to his teacher, and his teacher would just show him how to do it free. And my dad never ever paid for a mechanic growing up once, and still owns the car to this day that he bought when he was younger, because he just went and learned how to fix everything. And he explains to me nowadays how, as technology goes, it's just you need the detail. The details, what is important nowadays. And like, I'm studying automation for my course for supply chain. Everything's automated.
Yes.
And that's the big focus for us, is you have to make sure every detail is recorded, every detail is watched, and you have to create a system that makes it so paying attention to those little details isn't worrisome or bothersome. It's kind of like what you're saying. You have to figure out a way to do it yourself, and then also develop systems around it, right? Like,
Daniel, you promise you're telling me the truth, huh? It's great. What you're saying is no, but
I like
want-
fixing
the reason I repeat that, I'm just pulling your chain a little bit to let everybody know that this is tremendous experiential learning that you're getting from a real person, and he's your contemporary. How much easier it would be for me to bring in a bunch of PowerPoint slides and just tell you all of this, and you'd walk out of here and who cares? His story gives this real meaning. Thank you for all of this. And Alvin, I don't want to rush everybody, but I promise we didn't take a break, so we always end 15 minutes early, and you've been patient to stay this long. Is there anything you'd like to say as we conclude, Alvin? Alvin, before we sign off, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Maybe just two small things. One was just an observation with regards to these a lot of things we talked about here today, especially around transferable skills and about sharing knowledge. I feel that is something that kind of marks the completion of a repair for me. And I use it in the context of Repair Cafe, but you can use this in the context of anything you do in life. The ability to share the knowledge for when you've completed something is when you're done.
Yeah.
Because until you've done that, the work that you've done there, whatever you've been working on, if you just did it alone, then I almost see, until that knowledge is shared, it's incomplete, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost in part of failure because we're not gonna as great as life is, it's not the longest thing. We're not going to be on here for too long, and unless that knowledge is shared, it'll be lost with you, right? Either it's lost to your own memory, it's lost to time. That's why it's really important to ensure that you're always sharing, right? You're always sharing this knowledge with others, because that's the only way it'll survive, right? That it'll pass on, that it will stand that test of time, is that you're sharing it.
I can even add to that one final word, and then we conclude. Thank you, Alvin, by saying it has been said by no less a scholar than William McNeill, one of my favorite world historians that I talk about in Short History of the World, who said the thing that makes humans so powerful and dominant and important on planet Earth is persistent collective learning. Our ability to learn together and share is a remarkable thing. we create so much. We do so much when we share knowledge together. We build more. We go further. And so Alvin, I think, is saying it in a very practical way. Repair Cafe is about that, but ultimately, if we want to be a good person, we want to be part of the human race, and we want to do something on this planet that is going to help others, let's share our knowledge together. I think that's my final word. Thank you, Alvin, for all the give you a round. I should have given you guys a round last week, but thank you all for great discussion, and see you all next week. And for those watching the recordings, you know where to reach me. And I look forward to getting you information for your first assignment coming soon. Okay? Signing off now from the Rotary Global Classroom with Maureen and Daniel and everybody else. Bye-bye. Okay. So let me save the live
you,
chat.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Gotta
Thanks,
save it.
everyone.
Yeah, great. What do we have here? I'm going to end the next step is I have to, got the notes, so end the live stream, just a second, and then we can